Good morning, guys. Welcome back to another video. On today's video, we're going to be talking about frugal living tips to help you save money and help you have more money. Glad to be back here, guys. Welcome in on this morning. Do me a favor, guys. Let me know that you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me and the mic check is working okay. So we're going to jump right into it, guys. And again, good morning to you. I see you, Jason Cox. I see you get the memo. How you doing? He's from Las Vegas, Nevada. Guys, also tell me where you're from. What city, what state, what country. And then give me a thumbs up if you can hear me and my audio is good. As you come in, thanks a lot, Gerald. I appreciate that. As you guys come in, please don't forget to hit that like button for me. And we're going to have this conversation this morning, guys. We're going to be talking about the nine frugal living tips to help you save money and have more money, because we all want to have more money. That's the whole point in everything we're doing out here is we want to have more money so we can feel like we're living at least to pay our needs, but also to pay for any wants and things that we have. So it's understandable. All right, looks like we got Boston in the house. Boston, Gerald's checking in from Boston. Good to have you, Gerald. Boston, Mass. So guys, hey, the first place to go if you want to have more money is you got to go to the expense side of your budget. Not a real popular thing to say. You can increase your income if you want. You can, and a lot of us will and want to. But the easiest thing to do, not just the first place to go, but the easiest place to go is to your expense side of your budget. All right? It's easy, guys. It's easy to say, I'm going to slash this, I'm going to slash that, I'm going to cut this, I'm going to cut that out. It's going to take you some time and some work to actually increase your income. It can take you about 1 minute to make a decision to slash some of your expenses, okay? And that's why I call it the easiest place to go. Savannah, Georgia in the house. Hey, one consecutive person. Savannah, Georgia is checking in. Good to have you. Guys, let me know what city you're coming in from and what state. And I got a few thumbs up. Lets me know that you can hear me, all right? But, guys, the one thing we got to talk about on this video is we got to talk about being a little bit more flexible and adjusting. Because we know inflation had been high. It's still pretty high, but it's not as high as it was, right? And the latest CPI numbers came out last week. I think they were CPI, which is headline inflation. That's more around the 3 point some odd percent right now. So it's getting down. It's coming down after being really, really high last summer, right? But there's certain things in this world that we can't really change. So we need to focus on the things that we can control. Right? The things that we can change and control. So we have to be a little more adjustable, a little more flexible, right? And change some of our habits and some of our spending behaviors. And frankly, just flat out, right? Just flat out. Big elephant in the room, right? What's the big elephant in the room? We have to learn to really, because the dollar is losing value every day. We know that, right? So we have to sort of almost learn to live on a little bit less and have a little bit of joy, have more joy with less stuff, right? And it's not a popular message. The popular message is, hey, I can teach you how to earn and raise your income by $20,000 next month, right? That's the popular message because it plays on what everybody wants to hear. But the message I'm trying to explain to you in this video is we got to really start to understand that less can be more. Less can be more. Changing our habits, changing our money behaviors, adjusting what we do, being a little more flexible, right, is all that, that's all a part of what we got to do if we want to, be a little more frugal. There's nothing wrong with being frugal, right? Let me check back over here, guys. We got Barbados in the house. Good to have you. Boynton Beach, Florida. RC, good to have you. Checking in from Maryland. Good to have you, Roberta. And Miss V from Seattle. Good to have you as well. We got a few more in here, guys. Do me a favor. You got to smash the like button. This type of message needs to be heard by more people. Not the message of me standing by the Lambo, right? this type of message where, hey, how can we be a little more frugal, needs to be heard by more and more people. So smash that like button, share the link to this video as well. And what I want to do in the video is talk about these 9 things, how we can adjust and be a little more flexible in terms of living more frugal and frugal tips. But also we can do a little Q&A as well towards the second half of this this live. And I'll be running through the chat and seeing what you guys are talking about too. I always like to dibble and dabble in there as I go along. Hey, how you doing, Elsa? Good to have you. Somebody said I don't make 6 figures. I have more than people making over 100,000 a year. Absolutely, Miss V. You're right. Hey, I just checked myself, guys. I didn't make 6 figures at my job, and I do have a job, right? YouTube is not my job. I have a main job, which I like, and I enjoy my main job, and I enjoy the people at my main job. But I just checked, I started making 6 figures when I was 49 or 50 years old. 2019, 2050, I started making 6 figures for the first time. And I built my wealth up quite a bit, right? And I say built my wealth, I don't like to talk about it so much, but, transparent, hey, it's a 7-figure net worth. As a 7-figure net worth person, I didn't do it by selling courses, okay? I have no course to sell you, okay? I didn't do it by, any cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. I have $350 in Bitcoin. That's it. Is it Bitcoin? No, it's cryptocurrency, Ethereum. I didn't do it by day trading or Forex or anything like that. I did it the old fashioned way, which was steady, discipline, being frugal to an extent, right? Not, focusing on my net worth, paying down debt, paying off debt, right? The old-fashioned way is how I did it. And so that's what I'm trying to explain to you guys on this video, is that we got to be a little more old-fashioned when it comes to our budget and our money and being frugal, right? So, hey, what can I say, guys? That's what we want to talk about. Hey, Odessa, Texas is in here. Patrick, good to have you. Glad you're here. Everyone wants to have more money, but most people, I say most, a lot of people don't want to cut their lifestyle, right? But again, the absolute quickest, most painless way to save more money, to invest more money, to have more money is to spend less money, right? Spend less money. Reduce your expenses. That's what we're talking about. This is why you do a budget, right? Income is only 3 or 4 sources for most people, right? We got our job, we got 1 or 2 side hustles, maybe. We have a military pension. Maybe some of us get child support, right? But the expenses is all over the place. We have 25, 30 different expenses every month, but we only got 3 or 4 sources of income. Well, guess which one is going to be the quickest and easiest and most surefire way of having more money is attacking those expenses. So controlling expenses, spending less, and guess what? You're going to have less, but you probably feel better in the long run. So, and again, let me preface all this by saying everybody's different. Personal finance is very, very personal. It's very personal, right? How I handle my finances might be a little different than Patrick handles his, right? What Patrick does is going to be different than what Miss V does, right? I'm looking at names in the chat, right? So everybody is a little bit different. I talk to a lot of people about their money. I do one-on-one financial, consulting and mentoring and coaching with people. And people, you would be surprised at how different people are, how different they think, how different their budgets look, right? Everybody is different. There's some absolutes in personal finance, but a lot of it is based on what you can tolerate, your risk level, what you want, what you don't want, where how much money you make, how much money you don't make, how do you spend your money, where you live. There's so many variables, right? That's why it's hard to give one size fits all advice to a lot of people, but there are some absolutes, right? But personal finance is personal for each and every person, right? So, and I know when you go to, that's why certain people, you go to like Robert Kiyosaki, he'll say one thing, right? He'll put out one thing, one statement, and it's supposed to fit everybody. Well, it doesn't really fit everybody. Or name your favorite guru, right? They're going to put out something they're talking to millions of people. It's not going to fit everybody, right? And very few of them come out and say, hey, personal finance is personal. But it really is, and we all know it is. So we got to be careful about some of the advice, right? Some of the things I tell you on this video may not fit you, may not fit where you live, etc. It may not fit what you want. That's cool. Not a problem, right? So let's have this conversation, guys. Again, smash the like button. There's some free things down in the description box. 24 Laws of Money is free from me to you. Principles that help me build my wealth from nothing, less than nothing, to where I am today. Check that out in the comment or description box below. Also, Mint Mobile is down there as well in the description box. Click on that link. I use Mint Mobile, solid premium wireless service. I like to mention them because I'm not going to endorse anybody on this channel if I don't believe in them, right? And subscribe to what they do and like what they do and feel good about it. So check them out as well. Premium wireless service for less money, right? And it's good service too. Nothing's wrong with the service as well. Miss V, thank you so much for the chat. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. I'll say Miss V / move your body. Glad to have you. And thank you so much for the super chat there. Good afternoon from Ohio. Good to have you, Valencia. Let's see, John, thanks for smashing that like button for me, guys, and sharing the video as well. And we're going to do a little Q&A down the road, guys. All right, so let's jump into them, right, guys. Number one, and I won't say top of my head, but I'm just having a conversation here, guys. Feel free to chime in and drop something in the chat as well. But number one is this: the first frugal living tip to help you save money and have more money is simply this, guys. Stop buying so many clothes. Clothes. Listen, let me tell you this, guys. 9 times out of 10, when you see me on YouTube doing a video, I'm wearing a piece of clothing that I've either had for a long time or somebody purchased for me. Flat out, somebody purchased for me, right? This hat, somebody purchased for me. This shirt, yeah, I did this shirt, right? Because it's got Smart Money Bro on it. But I found since the pandemic happened, guys, I got clothes that I haven't worn, right? I don't buy very many clothes. I don't really buy. I bought some shoes. Tried to play basketball a couple months ago. I played for like 3 weeks in a row, 1 day a week, 3 weeks in a row, and I got a bad knee, right? And so I said I'm a chill with that, right? Played full court for a couple hours on those days, and I went out and bought me some. My son called them LeBrons. I just thought they were nice shoes, so I went out and bought me some gym shoes, right? But for the most part, guys, that's probably the first thing I bought, first pair of shoes I bought in years. I just don't buy a lot of clothes. And I think a lot of us could stand to hold tight on the clothes that we have. Some people I talk to have a clothes budget where every month they spend $200 or $300 on clothes, $400 on clothes. One lady I talked to, she spent $600 a month on clothes, and it was budgeted into her budget. Listen, I don't know about you guys. You guys tell me in the chat. Do you have a clothes budget that you or a set amount of money that you spend on clothes once a month? I think one of the areas that a lot of us could maybe cut down on is buying so many clothes, right? To be a little bit more frugal. Now, I told you my story about being frugal. I'm not a big clothes guy, right? Not to say I don't like nice clothes. If you ever see me, I'm going to be dressed nice, right? I'm not going to be torn up and raggedy, but I'm just not a big clothes spender, right? And I don't know if you guys are not, but it's just not something I do. That's an area that we can definitely be a little more frugal in, a lot of folks, based on the people that I talk to, right? And I talk to people a lot about their personal finances every day or so. And so, and people tell me these things, and I say, wow, I don't say this, but I say in my brain, I'm thinking, that's a lot of money for clothes. What can we do to cut that down? Stop buying so many clothes, right? And I know, you're losing weight, you're gaining weight. That's what we do, right? As adults, we lose weight, we gain weight, we put on more muscle, we take off muscle, we get a little bigger around the midsection, all those things, right? And so, but my thing is, guys, you don't need so many. Most of us don't need as many clothes as we buy, right? I haven't been to the mall in a few years, but, I go in places like regular stores, Kohl's or Target or something like that. And but don't get me wrong, you need clothes. Clothes is a need. I'm not saying you don't need it, but not so many clothes. Not so many clothes. Number two, consider using the envelope system. Now, somebody said, man, you have a seven-figure net worth and you still use the envelope system. Yes, I still use the envelope system to this day. I don't have to. When I say the envelope system is this, guys. To help you be disciplined, put what you need in cash in an envelope. Now, I started doing this back in 1993 when I got my first apartment. 92, I got my first apartment. I went off to college, to a university, got my first apartment, and I started putting, here's what my food is going to be. I put it in an envelope. Here's what my little miscellaneous money is going to be. I put it in an envelope. Here's what, etc., right? Down the road, any little small thing, gas, whatever it was for the car, right? But the point is, the envelope system it really helps you be disciplined. So for me, I use the envelope system still to this very day for 4 or 5 items. I put things in the envelope, right? It's more like a booklet, but it's like an envelope, right? Actually, some of it is in envelopes, literally envelopes, right? It's just a system. It's a tracking system. And then you have to be disciplined enough to say, if it's not in the envelope, I'm not going to spend it. If it's not in the envelope, if I exhaust everything in the envelope, don't spend it. So for food to this day, I still have a certain budget amount of money that I put in the envelope every 2 weeks for food, right? Call me strange, call me weird, call me silly, but that's what I do. And it still works. It still works, right? Easy, simple, discipline, exercise anybody can do to be a little more frugal. It's about being, see, frugality is about discipline. Frugality is so hard for a lot of people because it's about being disciplined, holding yourself accountable, telling yourself no. That's what it's about. And by using the envelope system, you can say to yourself something like, I have $200 $400 this next 2 weeks for food. That's all I'm going to spend. Or you might have an envelope that's about eating out, restaurant. And you might put $25 a week in there, $25 a month, whatever your situation is, right? But that's about being disciplined, right? You might, in your envelope system, put $30 a month towards your car maintenance, or $60 a month, whatever it may be. But the thing about this thing is you got to design, build, and produce a system that works for you, an envelope system that works for you. But it's about being disciplined. And it will hold your feet to the fire. And it's a frugal living tip that's like incredibly simple. Let's jump to number 3. Number 3 is this. Number 3 is there ain't nothing wrong. Speaking of clothes, there ain't nothing wrong with thrift stores. Okay, I might get some backlash and somebody might beat me up about this one. But there's nothing wrong with thrift. Anything I've ever gotten from a thrift store, first of all, as you may or may not know, from 2013 to 2019, I sold $100,000 worth of stuff on eBay. Over 100. Now it's probably 115, 120,000. But I don't sell really on eBay anymore, right? I do have 80 items still on eBay at my eBay store. But I sold all, and 60% of that I got at thrift stores. Because we live in a society of excess in America. In a society of excess, people get rid of stuff that's still good, stuff that still works. I may be the only person that's ever shopped or looked at a thrift store in the room. But if I'm not, let me know in the chat, guys. But thrift stores have lots of good stuff. Sure, some thrift stores are better than others, right? Some of us have been in thrift stores that was like walking into a junkyard. Every thrift store is not the same, right? Thrift stores, there's nothing wrong with it. Obviously, anything you buy or get from a thrift store, you want to clean thoroughly, right? You want to clean it thoroughly. But when I sold on eBay, most of my sourcing was done at thrift stores, various thrift stores. Again, they're not all the same. Of course, I also went to estate sales, right? You can go to estate sales as part of some frugal living, right? You can go to garage sales, right? There's all different types of people give away brand new stuff all the time. People take brand new stuff to the Goodwill, to Salvation Army, wherever it may be, right? Or local thrift stores. Sometimes local thrift stores or even consignment shops, right? They have even better stuff. Sometimes estate sales have even better stuff at cheaper prices. I always found this. I used to like to go to garage sales and estate sales late on a Saturday afternoon. So in other words, I don't want to be that first person that gets there on Friday, Thursday when they start, because they've marked everything up. Now, don't get me wrong. If you go late on Saturday, you're going to miss some good stuff too. You're going to miss a lot of deals. But also, if you go late on Saturday, you're going to get them they're trying to give you 80% off. You can get to garage sales at the end of the day on Saturday at, say, noon on the Saturday, and people are giving away stuff. Oh, take it. You can have it. I'm trying to get rid of it, right? Because when I sourced for eBay, I had to learn how to find the most inexpensive stuff. So the way I learned to find the most inexpensive stuff was I frequented thrift stores. There's nothing wrong with a thrift store. It's just a slightly used item. Sometimes it's not gently used, right? But I'm not telling you to buy anything raggedy or anything like that. I'm saying think about thrift stores. You can get a lot of good stuff from thrift stores. Number fourth frugal living tip. And by the way, guys, we're going to do a little Q&A, have a little conversation back and forth in a bit. What I want to do here is I just want to give you some things to think about in terms of some frugal living tips to help you save some money and have some money, right? But thrift store, that's one of my favorites, man. That's one of my favorites. But some people, they just don't like thrift stores. They don't like used stuff, right? But I sold mostly shoes on eBay, by the way. 95% of everything I sold on eBay was shoes, men's and women's, not sneakers. I'm not a sneakerhead, nothing like that, right? But I sold real shoes, right? Men's dress shoes, women's, pumps, heels, whatever it may be, wedges, sandals, not sandals, whatever. I sold all that. And so a lot of what I found was new. I didn't sell anything raggedy on eBay, right? I didn't take things with worn out heels. Now, if I found a good find, I'd take that shoe and I'd spend 50, 60, 80 bucks having that shoe refurbished. New sole, new heel, right? Leather, special leather, leather cleaning and all that good stuff. Stretch it out with shoe stretchers, whatever it may be. If I found a good deal, because if I knew I could sell a shoe for $250, then what's 80 bucks to go have it redone? Not a big deal, right? So, you learn all those tricks when you work on eBay, but thrift stores are great. All right. Now, number 4 is do a budget. It's so mundane. It's so, basic, right? But a frugal living tip is you have to track your spending. You have to track the spending, and you have to do a budget on a regular basis. I put a poll out, I think it was on YouTube community tab about a couple of weeks ago, asking people, who do you actually do a budget every single month, a unique written budget every month, written or spreadsheet? And do you realize that I had 1,000 people vote on that, and 60% of them said they don't just do a budget? 60% of the people that I polled, granted it was a random poll on YouTube, right? But 60% of the people said they don't do a budget, a unique written monthly budget. So as basic as that advice is, most people still don't do it. As basic as that advice is, most people refuse to sit down and for 10 minutes, 15, 30 minutes a month, do a budget. Again, a budget, when you tell your money where to go and you organize your money and you tell your money, hey, $25, you're going to go here. Hey, $50, you're going to go here. $300, you're going over here. It's empowering, right? Because you're telling your money what to do. You're telling your money where you want it to go. You have control. The problem with a lot of people is they let money control them instead of them controlling the money. People end up feeling the one thing that everybody wants in this world, on this planet, is they want to have some control. Everybody have a sense of control over their own life. Everybody wants that, right? It's baked into our human nature. In all of our DNA, we want to have some feeling of control, because the feeling of being out of control is a daunting feel. It's an overwhelming feeling. It causes anxiety, causes fear, causes stress, right? When you feel out of control. So all of us have built in us an innate wanting to be in control and to feel in control. Well, The one of the ways you can feel in control and empower yourself is by telling your money what to do, every single dollar, right? What to do, what you want it to do. And you may say, hey, I want to have a cushion of $200 every month just in case, right? Well, then you tell $200 you're going to be my miscellaneous money this month. And I'm going to put you right here, and you want to be in control. And a budget will do that for you. A budget will not only put you in control, but it will also set up some guardrails for you, some guidelines for you. Oh, that's outside my budget. I got to think really hard about that. I'm going to have to go back into my budget and make some changes and switch some things around so I can go splurge on that thing I want to splurge on. Right? That's just discipline. Right? When I put out that poll and I had 60% of the people say they don't do a unique written monthly budget, I was kind of surprised. I was pretty shocked, right? But on the other hand, I wasn't shocked because I know that a lot of people struggle with doing that. And it's the same amount it's half the time you spend watching one movie. Less than half, right? It's 30 minutes a month. That's all it really takes once you get it up and running, right? 30 minutes a month. And if you have a spouse or a partner, then hey, let's sit down and do the budget together, right? But everybody needs a budget. Everybody should be tracking their spending, right? I just gave you some reasons why that you need it, but consider it because that's a frugal living tip that is incredibly basic. Anybody can do it. It don't take a fancy system. You don't have to. I always tell people, if you're going to do a budget, don't use a budget template. Don't use somebody else's budget template because somebody else's budget template won't be right for you. Again, personal finance is personal, right? If you want to start getting better with your money, then you need to start building, producing, and creating systems around your money. You create, build, and produce systems around your income and expenses. You don't have to take a budget template for $3 and go buy a budget template or buy a book. You ain't got to do none of that. All you need is this. Pencil, paper. It's all you need, right? That's it. Simple. Or if you have a computer, you got a spreadsheet. And create your own budget, right? Because if you go to a template is going to have things in that budget template that don't fit you. And next thing you know, you're going to be changing the way you spend money just to fit a template. Or you're going to be crossing stuff out or deleting stuff. You ain't got to do none of that. You do your own template. Again, that's an exercise that puts you in control, that makes you all of a sudden become a builder, all of a sudden become a producer of something, all of a sudden become most successful people I know, they are in the habit of creating and producing things, and things when it comes to their own living, right? Whether I don't care if it's a garden out back, right? Or if it's something recipes they come up with, whatever. People that are successful, they understand that they don't have to rely on other people to help them be successful. They can create their own tracking methods, their own budget, right? Guys, don't forget, smash that like button for me as you come in. Do a little Q&A here in just a little bit, guys. And I know you guys are somebody's probably dropped a question or two in there already, but we'll get there. Number five is this. Consider the 30-day rule for all of your purchases that come outside of your normal spending. Okay? The 30-day rule of all your purchases outside of your normal spending says this. I'm going to wait 30 days before I buy it. Before I even consider buying it again, I'm going to wait 30 days. Try it. It really, really works. The 30-day rule for all purchases outside of your normal spending. Again, being able to say no to you. That's discipline, right? Being able to say no to that want, right? That dress you want, those shoes that you want, right? Whatever it may be, that car you want, whatever it could be. Consider the 30-day rule for purchases that don't fit in your normal budget. Number 6, stop shopping online so much. A frugal tip to help you save money, to have more money. The mere fact that they've made it so simple, they've made it. Our society has undergone this transformation in the last 10, 15, 20 years. The fact that you can buy stuff without leaving your bed, you can buy stuff without leaving your couch, right? It's an incredible thing, guys. Or that I mentioned before in another video, that you can actually order a whole meal to be brought to you without leaving your couch is, in my opinion, it's absolutely a problem for a lot of people. Sure, it's convenient. I get it. Sure, it helps people that may be disabled or have an injury and can't get up and can't get out. I totally understand it, and I'm totally for it in those instances, right? But honestly, for the average person, it makes us unhealthy, and it makes us spend more money all at the same time. It makes us unhealthy and makes us spend more money all at the same time. To shop, constantly shop online, right? I know people that get 3 or 4 Amazon packages delivered to their house a day. Anytime you go over their house, there's a package laying in the front, right? That's obsessive. And some of you know that. Listen, shopping online itself is a real addiction. Let's not play games with it, all right? Shopping online is a real addiction. It plays to, I don't know what's it called. Maybe you guys know this, but it's something. It's the same thing you do when you take a drug or something like that, or when you go on social media or something. It hits something in your brain, but it's an addiction. It's a real addiction that can be serious. I know people. I've talked to people they're on a fixed income, but they still shop at Amazon daily. It's just that simple. But honestly, guys, it's all about discipline. It's all about discipline. You will automatically spend more money if you can just plug in a credit card and spend what you see across a screen. But the marketplace knows this. This is why you see ads on social media. This is why you see ads on TV. This is why you see ads when you walk down the street and you go to the gas, or go get some gas, and all of a sudden there's 10 billboards that pop up. They know this, right? And since they realize this, they play on this all in your brain. Why has Amazon become the world's biggest company, one of the world's biggest companies in the world? Why has Amazon done that? Because people can sit at home and order everything they need. You can have 2 packages, 10 packages delivered to your house every single day. It's a horrible habit for your money. And it's one that people don't really talk about enough, right? You have these people out here saying, hey, let me teach you how to make more money and earn more income. And you got to make more money. And here's a side hustle for this and a side hustle for that. But guess what? The biggest side hustle is stop spending so much money online on Amazon. That's a side hustle right there, because it'll put more money in your pocket, right? Right. And granted, I'm a person that I don't shop online really. I bought maybe 3 or 4 things, maybe 4 or 5 things off Amazon ever. And guess what? I sold over $100,000 on eBay, but I only bought 2 things off eBay in my life ever. Call me weird, right? But you got to stop shopping online. Stop having your food delivered if you can go out and get it. All right. Hey, number 7 is this. Speaking of food earlier, number 7 is this. Grocery shop 1 time a week. Grocery shop just 1 time a week, or 1 time every 2 weeks, right? Let me give you a little tips about grocery shopping, because I think a lot of people can save money on food. And I think a lot of people kind of miss the boat on food. I asked a question on social media a couple of months ago about food. How much is your budget, right? How much is your food budget every month? And I got answers all over the board. Some people said $300 a month. Some people said $1,000 a month, right? All over the board, right? And so let me just give you a few frugal living tips about grocery shopping. And I'm not a couponer. I'm not an extreme couponer, right? And I do spend a lot of money on good, solid, organic, whatever the food may be, right? Fair enough. That's what I do. I don't mind doing that because I like to eat right. I like to walk. I like to take care of the one body that I have. So I try to eat as good as possible. I don't spend money on clothes, but I spend money on good food, not restaurant food, but good, solid, organic fruits, vegetables, all that stuff. All right. So a few things. Make a grocery budget, right? And you'll see us nerds, because I'm one of them, that'll be looking at the budget, right? Either on paper or in my on my phone. Grocery budget. Make a grocery budget every time you go. Another thing about grocery shopping: figure out what your weekly meals are going to be. I'm going to make this. I'm going to make that. I'm going to make 3 dinners this week. Figure out what those ingredients you need to make those meals, and buy those ingredients. Right? Of course, you want to buy all your regular stuff, but that's what you want to buy. You want to figure out your weekly meals and figure out what the ingredients are and buy that. And start the list that you're going to make, the list of stuff you're going to buy. Start it early in the week. If you go grocery shopping on Saturday, start the next week's list on Monday, right? Days before you go. That way you don't forget anything. I make a list, and it's on the island. I may start the list, get the list going, boom, boom. And here's another thing. When you make the list of what you're going to purchase at the grocery store, write an estimated price next to each item, right? Next to each item on the list, write what you think it's going to cost. Oh, I need turkey. Oh, I need, mayonnaise, or whatever it may be, right? Write what you think it's going to cost. $3, $5, $6, $8, $10, $2, whatever it could be. Now, stick to the budget. You got to come up with a budget that you're going to have. I'm going to spend $200 this week. I have my list. I have all of my ingredients for the meals I'm going to make this week. Now, I want to make sure when I go to the store that you bring the budget. Don't leave the budget at home. I've done that on many occasions. Don't leave the budget at home. Bring the budget with you to the store. Stick to the budget. Also, another quick tip about grocery shopping: make sure you eat a big meal before you go grocery shopping. How many of you, granted, I'm guilty, you didn't eat, you get to the grocery store, and all of a sudden everything looks good. You're going up and down aisles you ain't never went up and down, right? You're checking out things that you ain't never checked out because you're hungry, right? Don't go to the grocery store one time a week or one time every 2 weeks. Don't go hungry. Eat before you go. Finally, grocery shopping tip, frugal living tip. When you go to the grocery store, make sure you shop fast. Slow shoppers spend more money. Slow shoppers that kind of meal around, go up and down each aisle to figure out what they might want, and they're in the store for an hour, those people are going to spend more money. They know that. That's why they have end caps for you slow shoppers. That's why they have those, I don't know what they call those things that sit out in the middle of right before you get to the checkout, all these things with these specials on them, because they know if you mill around, you're likely to pick up that candy bar. You're likely to pick up what they put up at the front to entice you, the gum and the candy and all that stuff, right? So they know you. They study your behavior, right? Don't shop slow. Get in, get out. Don't play around. Because if you play around, you're going to spend more money. You're going to bust that budget, right? So, again, one time a week, all those things I gave you guys, I've done it for like 20 plus years, 30 years or so, right? Now, number 8, frugal living tip to help you save more money. Bulk cook. Let me say that again. In other words, eat leftovers, right? First of all, you got to cook at home more. But once you cook at home more, you have to be okay with eating leftovers, right? Meal prepping and eating leftovers, right? I actually saw this article the other day ago. I'm going to share it with you guys real quick. I'm going to share my screen if I can. I'm going to share this article with you. Just came out this week, and I want to share it with you guys because it's really about saving money. That's why we're here, right? And let's see here. Bam. All right, let's see here. All right, so you guys may be able to see my screen. I think you can. Restaurant prices are way up, right? You might want to head to the supermarket. That was a story that happened here, came out November 14th, I guess, a few days ago, whatever. If you're watching your budget, it might be time to skip the drive-through, right? In the 12 months, the previous 12 months, higher restaurant prices drove food prices above overall inflation. For the year, grocery prices rose 2.1%, according to CPI data. But menu prices were up twice as much, more than twice as much, 5.4%. So And you can check that story out, guys. It's a story that happened here, but that came out just recently. But restaurant prices are up. That means for us, and this just came out, that means for us, you're going to save more money. And we know this already, right? I think we know this already. You're going to save more money if you cook at home, right? You cook at home. All right, very, very important. McDonald's has raised prices quite a bit. During an October analyst call, the company CFO said McDonald's expected U.S. prices to be up over 10% for the year. Right? 10% for the year. That's huge, right? So my thing is, hey, stay out of the restaurants. Cook more, right? You don't have to go through and stop here and stop there. And I talked about this one time, and somebody came back and sent a comment and said, oh, no, have you looked at prices in grocery stores lately? Going to restaurants are more expensive, or going to eating at the grocery store or buying your food and cooking at home is more expensive than a restaurant. No, it's not, right? No, it's really not. I know it feels like it, but it's not. It really isn't. Okay, so we have to understand that, cooking at home is less expensive than going to a restaurant. When you go to restaurants, you're paying for that cook salary, you're paying for the worker's salary that brought you the food, you're paying for that building that was there, you're paying for all that overhead, you're paying for workers' comp in your price. It's in the price of the food. It's in the price of the sandwich. It's baked into there, right? That's what they do. They bake all that into the food. You want a burger, you can go buy the meat and go make your own burger at home and buy you some bread, and you can get 10 burgers for the price of 2. Okay, by cooking at home more, right? Hey, it's very important. Meal prep, carry your lunch to work. Feel free to eat leftovers, right? Nothing wrong with I've heard of people tell me, hey, I don't eat leftovers. They just don't taste right to me. Okay. All right, prepare to cook a brand new meal every single day and spend a lot more money, right? Number 9, and we're going to do a little Q&A, guys. I'm going to jump in the chat here in just a second. Let me get number 9 out the way. The biggest living expense most of us have is housing, rent, mortgages, etc. It's housing. That's the biggest living expense we all have, right? Listen, you may have to be a little more, like I said in the beginning, flexible with your housing to save money. Frugal living tip. Right? You may have to downsize. You may have to take on a roommate. You may have to live with someone else, right? We're getting to that point in America, okay? We're getting to the point in America in some of these larger cities where it's astronomical. Rent is astronomical to live downtown D.C., to live near the city of Seattle, to live near, downtown or near the ocean in San Diego. Prices are getting crazy for living. Rent is still higher than it probably should be in a lot of places, right? You're going to have to be a little more flexible. And it may mean moving to an area. It may mean moving 30 minutes outside the city. It may mean moving to a different location or changing your living accommodations, being more flexible. This is a way where you can save quite a bit of money because we spend quite a bit of money on our biggest living expense of housing. I just want to throw that one at you guys to say, hey, it's okay to be flexible when it comes to your housing. That's a frugal living tip that all of us need to be considering if we're struggling with money or if we want to have more money. Maybe you have to move back in. Maybe you have to live with a parent. Maybe you have to bring in a parent to your home. Maybe you have to, but it helps. Right? We have to be a little more flexible with our living accommodations and our living situations for some people, right? The key is we have to be more flexible in our entire lives if we want to be more frugal with money, right? So that's some frugal living tips, guys, to help you save money and have more money and things that I've done, okay? A lot of times you get people that talk about money quite a bit on here and they're not really people that have done what they tell you to do. Well, I've done all 7 of these things. Had to be frugal, had to do all that type of stuff, had to move back in, all that type of stuff, right? You do what you have to do. Let me jump back in the comments, guys. See where, hey, thanks so much. Let's see here. Appreciate it. Let's see here. AJ, I don't buy a lot of clothes. Let me see here. Guys, put a Q next to a question, if you have a question here, and I'll be more than happy to answer it. Somebody said, I buy all my clothes at the thrift store. Corvette Girl said that. Nothing wrong with it. It's nothing wrong with it, right? Discipline is cheap. Absolutely. Nothing wrong with Goodwill stores. You just got to make sure you clean everything, right? Now, clean it well. Make sure it's clean thoroughly, etc. I like to clean my own stuff. We're talking about, okay, so let's see here. Boom, boom. A budget is setting bound. Absolutely. Hey, Miss V, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Saying no to myself and saying no to others. Absolutely, guys. Let's see here. Any questions for me, guys? Because I like to get in here and answer some of these questions, you guys. Rule number 1, eat before you go. Rule number 2, shop fast. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see here. Always prepare a shopping list. Absolutely. Let's see here. Yeah, that's the point, to get the synapses in your brains ticking, right? Hey, good to have you here, certain. Yeah, leftover spaghetti is my favorite. So no questions I see. Well, maybe there are a few questions. If I miss one, guys, if you got a question, put a Q in it. We can rap about it. We can have this conversation, because I like to do these lives, because again, lives are better than just, I could have did a 5-minute video, 8-minute video, 10-minute video on this topic. But I said, you know what? Let's have this conversation, right? Let's have a conversation, as opposed to me getting on there, putting a bunch of fancy editing all in the video and all that good stuff, and just me spitting it at you. Let's have a conversation, because I think that's more helpful to a lot of people, to have the conversation. Oh, somebody said, did I use a template software to create my budget? No. Let me tell you a funny story. Oh, it's not a really funny story, but I'll tell you a story. I have done, and I calculated, like 330 something budgets in a row, monthly budgets in a row, starting back in 1992 when I first got my apartment. And then I had to do a budget when I was in college, because I lived off campus for a year, and then I used I got my own apartment, and then I lived back on campus. Then I got my own apartment when I graduated college in '94. But I've done a budget every single month, and for the first 27 years, it was on paper. Believe it or not, I would go to whatever drugstore, Osco, Costco, Walgreens, whatever. I would buy those ledger books, and I would do the budget in the ledger books for years and years and years. I just took my budget onto a Google spreadsheet, or a spreadsheet online, about on the computer, about 4 or 5 years ago. I just got on the computer with it, did budgets. And listen, doing a budget is, when I got going and really got focused in the year 2000, and I had a negative $30,000 net worth to my name. That budget, the two things really helped me a lot that most people don't talk about. It's the budget, and it's the giving. I started giving back in the year 2000, 2001. Started giving on a regular basis, helping other people out. My money always come. I didn't have much money. I didn't have much money when I started giving. But guess what? That principle of giving, and that principle of being organized and disciplined with my money, over the course of the last 23 years, 22, 23, 24 years, it's paid off tremendously. Tremendously. Two things people don't really talk much about at all. But they were big for me, and I like to talk about them because they were huge. So no, I don't use, and never have used, a budget template. Or software. I just do my own budget, because I know my budget. I don't have to, and you'll know it after a couple months of doing it, right? It becomes a habit. It becomes something you do. It becomes your way. I don't nearly have to track my money the way I do right now. I don't have to do that anymore, but I do it because I understand the principle of it. Let's see, difference between a want and a need. Absolutely. Absolutely. Folks that say they don't eat leftovers. I bet that Elliot said, folks that say they don't eat leftovers, I bet that excludes pies and cakes. You're probably right about that. All right. RD, question. What's the thing most people struggle with in life? Cost reduction. Got to ask that question again. I'm not sure I understand what you mean by that. Yeah, well, you put a question mark behind. But cost reduction is something that most people struggle with, is trying to reduce their expenses. When you get so used to certain things, it's difficult to say, I'm going to cut back, right? But that's what we all should do, is cut back. A lot of us should cut back. a lot more than we do. Question: when should we stop investing in our emergency fund? When your emergency fund is fully funded 3 to 6 months of your living expenses. If your expenses when you do your budget is $3,000 a month that you spend, then when you get to $9,000 or anywhere between $9,000 and $18,000, I would cut back and not keep saving for your emergency money. Or let me give you an or, right? Because everybody says 3 to 6 months, but guess what? You may be a salesman who works off commission and your job and your money is not promised. If that's you, then you may need 9 months or a year's worth of emergency money. Or another or, because again, personal finance is personal. If you're not comfortable with only 3 months of your savings in emergency, then you are free to add as much as what makes you comfortable. Now, I suggest 3 to 6 months, right? 6 months or more if you're in commission sales and you have a dicey job or your main income is a little bit shaky, you're not sure about it, 6 months or more. If you're a teacher or you have a really stable job that you ain't going nowhere, you're a nurse or something like that, or what have you, then maybe 3 to 4 months of your monthly expenses is what you should have. And anything beyond that, you should be investing. But don't keep $100,000 sitting in a savings account. Don't do that, right? That's just not really wise. Keep as much as you need, as much as you feel comfortable with. But at some point, you need to say, okay, this is too much money in my emergency money. I need to be investing, because the purpose of money, one of the purposes of money, is to grow money. Money is depreciating asset. Money is a depreciating asset. So you cannot if you keep money under your mattress, and keeping it in a savings account is virtually the same thing as keeping it under your mattress, because it's getting less interest than inflation. So it's losing more money than you're gaining. That means your money in that that checking account is going down in value. So you want to make sure the money is working for you beyond your emergency money. Your emergency money is not, we don't have to grow that. We don't have to grow that because that's just there for emergencies. But anything above it, you need to be investing it so the money can grow, right? You want to take this depreciating asset called cash, and you want to flip it and turn it into an appreciating asset called investments, stock market, real estate, whatever it may be. But you don't want to keep too much of this depreciating asset laying around beyond your emergency money, right? If you're comfortable with 9 months of savings in your emergency, great. 9 months is cool. But anything above and beyond that 9 months, you need to get that into where it's growing. It's making money for you. All right. Great question. The question was, I forgot the question. Let's see. When should we stop investing in our emergency fund? So get enough. Don't sit there and have $200,000 in your emergency fund. You're ruining the purpose of money. Money can't make more money if it's getting 1% interest, 2% interest, right? Another question. Thanks for that question, Helen, and also the question, RD. Jake A. Wife and I are about to move out of our starter house and rent it out. Tips for a new landlord. Jake, my man, Jake. Tips for a new landlord. Man, I could spend a whole 2 hours giving you tips for a new landlord because I've owned rental houses for the last 23 years. And I've managed my own properties. So just a few quick tips for a new landlord. The most important thing you're going to do, Jake, is find the right tenant. So spend 75 or 80% of your energy developing a process where you find the right tenant. I don't care if you put nice wood floors, beautiful lighting fixtures, granite countertops, you make it look beautiful. None of that matters if you get the wrong tenant. So the absolute most important thing you're going to do as a new landlord is get the right tenant. The wrong tenant will tear all that stuff up. So you got to really work on that process. Don't put anybody in your house that you're not sure about, right? Be sure. Do your background checks, right? Get the right tenant. That's thing number one for a new landlord. Second tip for a new landlord, don't fix up the house like you live there. Ooh, did he really just say that? Yes, I just said that. You don't have to have the highest grade of carpet. You don't have to have the highest grade of doorknobs and locks, right? You don't have to have the high, I say locks, you want to have the highest quality locks, but you know what I'm saying. You don't have to have the prettiest, nicest, most expensive fixtures all throughout the house. You don't have to do that on a rental house. Okay. Unless that rental house is in, $1 million neighborhood. Otherwise, you don't have to do that. Get quality mid-grade stuff to go in your home. Quality mid-grade stuff. Don't get the cheapest. Don't get the most expensive. I hope that helped you out, Jake. Just a few little tips as a landlord. All right. Question. Helen said, how do we go about booking a mentoring? Oh, well, let me just say this. Thanks for asking that question, Helen. I do offer one-on-one sessions with me where I can look at your personal financial situation. We do it on Zoom. We do it on phone call or Zoom, your choice. But then we can share screens. We can go through your budget, line item by line item. Pick out this, pick out that. I can tell you and feed you information that probably a lot of people can't. And I do that with folks on a one-on-one basis. There's a link to that in the description box. There's also a link to my schedule in the description box. You can check that out as well. But hey, let me tell you guys this. If you join this channel, I do 15 to 30 minute sessions with folks once a month. If you join this channel and you join at the advanced level of this channel, and it's only $25 $25 a month. I'll sit down with you for 15 to 30. It really is 30 minutes because I get long-winded. 15 to 30 minutes. I sit down with you. We can do it on Zoom. We do it on Zoom or we do it by phone, but we go over your situation. And I can be your accountability partner, which I am for a few people, right? I'm their accountability partner that holds them accountable. Because when I do one-on-ones, I give it to you raw. Okay? I give it to you raw. I tell you the things that most people probably won't tell you. Right? I really don't hold back. And I don't hold back on this channel really much either. But I give it to you like you probably need to hear it when I do one-on-one sessions, whether it's the 15 to 30-minute session by joining this channel at the advanced level, or if it's a one-on-one session that's a little more expensive, right? More money for that. But I do that because I have to, I'm spending time doing it. But it's really all about helping people. And I'm big on that. Thanks, Helen. But you can look in the description box for both of those. Let's see. Somebody said budget tips for the holiday season. AJ, good question. Holiday season is coming up. We got Christmas coming up. Matter of fact, I got a grandson whose birthday is today. I got to call him in a bit. So tips for the holiday season. Plan what you want to spend, right? Every holiday season, I'll make a list of people that I'm going to be giving to. I'll make a list. I'll put $1. This is weird. Okay. But I'm going to tell you what I do. I put $1 amount next to each person. Been doing this for a lot of years, right? So it's actually a good frugal living tip. I don't just go to the store and buy whatever comes up. I have a certain price next to each person that I purchase for. A certain price. It could be $10, $20, $30, whatever it is. But I stick to a budget. And here's what I do in my budget all throughout the year. All throughout the year, I'm saving for the holiday season. I'm putting $50 a check. $50 a month, whatever it may be. I'm putting that money to the side every single time I get paid so that when the holiday season comes, I've got $1,000. I've got $800. I got $1,200, whatever it may be. I do it every single year. Been doing that probably about 20 years too, 15 years or so, right? That's a good tip. That's a good frugal living tip. So you're not bombarded needing $1,000 or $500 or $300 to give to people or to buy gifts during the holiday season. So I have a fund that I fund every single time I get paid because I still get paid, right? I'm just like most of you out here. I still have a job. I'm not a full-time YouTuber that is, selling a bunch of courses and all that good stuff. I'm just a regular guy, right? That made some good decisions, right? So that's what I do. I hope that helped out in terms of holiday tips or spending tips for the holiday. That's a great question, AJ. I'm glad you asked that. But that's what I do. I budget in that money every single time I get paid, so there's no surprises, right? Miss V, a rule in my house, eat leftovers or you starve. I like that. Amen to that. I would definitely agree with that, right? You eat what's put before you. That's old school. Let's see. Elsa said, I tried to do my own hair, cut a few times to save money, but I messed it up. Listen, for many years, I'm bald-headed now, right? But for many years, I cut my own hair for a long time before I shaved it all off bald. So it's nothing wrong with, that for guys. I think it's easier for guys because guys typically have a little less hair. But if you can do your own hair, that's a big time savings for you. Let's see. Saving and frugal living is easy for me, said John. It's the spending and also big dollar investing that's hard for me since I'm a natural saver. Good. Yeah. Excellent. I'm a natural saver too, John, so I can definitely identify with that. Tips for risk averse savers to invest more. If you're risk averse, the thing about money is you got to get over the fear with money. Okay. Fear is a big part of investing. I know several people, I've talked to several people here recently that said, I'm nervous about the stock market, right? I'm nervous about it. Let me give you a tried and true tip about investing in the stock market. Invest what you can afford to lose. Invest what you can afford. If you think about the money that way, oh, I can afford to lose this if something crazy happens, then you can invest it, and you can invest it a little more, feeling better about the investment. Invest what you can afford to lose, and then you don't have to stress if it goes down, if it doesn't pan out the way you want it. The other thing is, make sure when you invest for the long haul, because over the long haul, typically, right, investments in the stock market per se go up over the long haul. They do this in the short haul, right? Boom, down, up, boom, boom. But over the long haul, they start here, but 10 years later, they're up here. 5 years later, they're up here. So just think in terms of those two things if you're a risk-averse person. Thanks for that question, John. I appreciate it. Dilly07 says, what is your thoughts on high-yield savings accounts? I like them. HYSAs are good, right? If you can find a good, solid, high-yield savings account. But again, you need to keep checking the yield on that. Keep checking what they're giving in terms of interest, because sometimes some of these high-yield savings accounts are going down a little bit, right? They're going down. They weren't what they were a year ago. And we hadn't seen high-yield savings accounts. We hadn't seen savings accounts at the rate they had been in 30 years or so. So just read the fine print and all that good stuff. And I'm okay. I'm all for high-yield savings accounts. Good question. Thanks for asking that. Somebody else asked the same question, looks like. Look, thought on Alibaba stock. Hey, I'm not a individual stock guy, and I don't like giving stock tips, but I haven't researched Alibaba. But if I can do a little research on Alibaba, I'd let you know. But I don't want to give you a stock tip without me knowing for sure what Alibaba is doing right now or what the company is doing right now. Let's see here. That happens. Corvette said that happened with our rental. It got trashed. Yeah, that'll happen. I've got some serious landlord stories I can tell you guys. One day I'll do a video about that. All landlord stories. I mean, I got some crazy stuff that's happened over the years, guys. Most of my family's birthdays are in September and October. Good to save up for birthdays. Yeah, birthdays, holidays, all that stuff. You want to save for it. Thanks, Corvette girl. I appreciate it. All right, listen, guys. Smart Money Bro. Elliot Finesse said, on your Christmas budget, I do the same with my real estate taxes, taking 1/12 monthly of a tax bill. Absolutely, Elliot. Excellent idea. Hey, Christmas comes at the same day every single year. Birthdays happen the same day every single year. Stop acting like they're surprises. They're not. So since they're not surprises, budget for them if you want to have the money for them. Anything that you know that happens on a yearly basis, like yearly I pay my CPA to do my taxes for me. Yearly. Same time every single year, almost the same time every single year, I pay my CPA to do my taxes. And so since my taxes include rental houses, businesses, okay, and when I say businesses, I have my properties in an LLC, right? I have another LLC. Smart Money Bro is an LLC, right? If you go to smartmoneybro.com and check out the website, you'll see it's a business, right? But the point is that I don't do my own taxes. They're a little too complicated for me to do. I'm just not there, right? And so I know I have to pay my CPA every year. So I save up for it. It's a part of my budget, right? When you're talking about being frugal, right? And these frugal tips, these things become habitual. They are a habit, and they become a part of you and what you do on a regular basis. Listen, living frugal is actually living good. You don't have to live like a pauper to live frugal. You don't have to live like, look raggedy, be raggedy. You don't have to do any of that, because when you start to organize your life, live a little frugal, live on less, guess what happens? When you learn to live on less, you actually need less to have joy. You actually need less to be happy, right? And the richest person in the world is not the person, and somebody said this quote years ago, but the richest person is not the person that has everything. It's the person that doesn't need everything. That's the wealthier. You become wealthier in your lifestyle, in your spirit, when you don't need so much around you, stuff, to be happy. When you don't need so much stuff to have joy. See, we've been bamboozled in this society. We've been made to think stuff makes us happy. And we've been made to think that way because that's why you see all the commercials. That's why you see them constantly selling you stuff, because we've been made and conditioned to believe the more stuff we have, the more we shop, the more we buy, the more stuff, the bigger the house, that we're going to be happy. That is 1,000% false. It's not true. It's wrong, right? And so what I'm explaining is this, guys: need less and you'll ultimately have more. Not just money-wise, because the same it applies to money, but it also applies to you as a human being in your spirit. Need less, you'll have more. Need less stuff, you'll actually have more stuff, right? Need less stuff, you'll feel better that you don't need so much stuff. And guess what? All the while, you'll be saving money at the same time. Frugal living tips to help you save money and have more. Right? Have more money, have more peace of mind, have more, a better feeling about yourself, have more discipline, have more consistency, have more joy, have more happiness, all that. If you learn to be a little more frugal, we got to adjust, right? We have to adjust. America's not changing based on us. So guess what? We got to adjust. And like I said earlier, with number 9, you may have to move. You may have to get out of the city. Go to 30 minutes out. Go to the countryside. Maybe you may have to move to another country. Who knows? It's possible. It's not a big deal. But frugal living will make you feel better, not only about yourself, but have more joy. You'll have more, and you'll have a whole lot less stress. Trust me. So I hope, guys, on this video, got another question. Before I wrap it up, let me go to this question. How do you find a good CPA to do your taxes? Wow, good question, John. My tax preparer stated that I need a CPA because of all the investments. Yes, this is my suggestion to you. Stop. Okay, you never want to be audited by the IRS. I've been audited by the IRS. Full transparency, keeping it 100% real, right? I don't like to call myself a guru because I'm just a regular person, but I got audited by the IRS. You don't want that heat. You don't want that smoke. Trust me. I threw a whole bunch of papers away and did a poor job managing my eBay business when I was doing eBay, big time. I did a poor job at it, and I got audited, and I owed the IRS, and I paid the IRS, right? Full disclosure. Then guess what I did? I went out and said, you know what? The way you did these taxes is not right. I went out and found me a good CPA. I interviewed 3 or 4 CPAs. They didn't know I was interviewing them, but I interviewed them because I want to make sure that this person knows their stuff. I don't want to get in trouble again. I want them to hold me accountable, and I'm going to hold them accountable. So I had to find a good CPA after interviewing 3 or 4 other CPAs. And I went with the one that I felt knew what they were talking about, and the person that gave me the good and the bad, not the person that just gave me the good, right? But everybody needs a good CPA. This is my opinion. Be careful about how you're doing your taxes. So since I had that run-in with the IRS several years back, I got a good CPA. I don't cut corners on that. I pay somebody plenty of money to take good care of my books and make sure that my books are right, because it's very, very important. So that's a great question, John. I'm glad you asked that question. You got to find a good CPA. Very, very, very much so. Let's see here. Oh, somebody said a Buddhist philosophy, right? Happiness is when your desires are met. Desire less, make it easier to be happy. Okay, cool. Appreciate that on the spot live. I'm glad you like it. Just basic common sense stuff about frugality. Is what I like to talk about, guys. I like to keep things simple. If you guys haven't noticed, I don't like to complicate stuff. It doesn't have to be, life doesn't have to be complicated. We make it complicated, but this stuff could be fairly simple. I appreciate you guys being here. Leo, appreciate you. Thanks, Elliot. Glad you're here. Can I share my thoughts on the FIRE movement? Financial independence, retire early. Pedro, my philosophy on the FIRE movement is yes, yes, and yes again. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay? I like it a lot. There's nothing wrong with the FIRE movement. I think it was Susie Orman or somebody came out against it. Listen, financial independence, retire early. That's all about, that goes right in line with this whole idea of frugality. Financial independence, retire early. In other words, work your behind off when you're 20, 25, 30, 35 years old and save, have an astronomical saving and investment rate. In other words, instead of putting 3 to 5% into your job's retirement system, go ahead and drop 25%, 40% of your income, 50%, 60% of your income into the market, stock market. And in about 10, 15 years, you'll have enough money or less, you'll have enough money to retire early. Financial independence, retire early. I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's a good goal for anybody or any couple, whoever is doing it. Excellent. I'm all for it. Right? I hope that made it clear exactly how I feel about the FIRE movement, because everybody doesn't want to work. Some people don't like their jobs, don't like what they do. A lot of people don't like their jobs and what they do. I happen to like what I do as a job, so I continue to do it. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I like the people I work with, and it's a good job. I like it, and I like what I've been doing it for 16 years or so. But some people that just don't like what they do, it's cool, but you got to have a plan. The FIRE movement is all about having a plan to get there early. Instead of waiting to retire at 65 years old, 60, 55 years old, retire at 35. That's cool. But remember, you got to live on less. You got to be, most people have to be frugal to do that, right? And this is where it starts, frugality. So great question, Pedro. Thanks for asking that. Okay, hey guys, listen. I'm going to wrap it up. We've been on here an hour and 12 minutes. I really, really, really enjoy talking to you guys. I really enjoy the energy you guys bring, the questions you ask. Listen, the channel has grown tremendously. I owe it to you all, right? I owe it to you guys. You guys can do me a favor and share this video with somebody you know, somebody who, all of us know somebody, most of us know somebody who probably needs to hear a story about how to live better, more frugal, right? And on this video, I gave you 9 frugal living tips to help you save money and have more money, right? Because the first place you got to go if you want to increase your income is to go to your expense side of the budget and spend less money. You spend less, you have more. For some people, I hear this a lot. I can't stop. I can't save anymore. I'm down. For most of us, not all of us. I understand there are people that are really living in a situation that's hard to get themselves out of. I really, really understand that. Trust me. But there's a vast majority of us that can find $50, $20, $75, $100 more on our budget just by living a little more frugal, right? And that's what I'm trying to get us to see and understand, right? I appreciate you guys. And also in the description box, check out the free ebook, 24 Laws of Money, the 24 principles that help me build my wealth in a very practical way. Again, I like to keep it simple. So check that out. Don't forget Mint Mobile's down there. Love Mint Mobile because I use them. Excellent. You won't find a Mint Mobile retail store. They don't have stores. They don't have salespeople. And they pass that savings on to me and you. They use the largest 5G network in the world. So no worry about drop calls, none of that stuff. And this is all about saving money, right? And Mint Mobile, you can get a very inexpensive premium wireless plan. And that's why I talk about it. Okay, and I'll have a link to that in the description box as low, guys. I appreciate you guys. If you're watching this on replay, make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you drop a comment. I try to answer most of my comments, guys, because I know there's real people behind every single comment, except for the bots out there, right? Be careful about scammers down in the comment section, guys. They are relentless, right? I think they have software programs where they push out this stuff to all channels on YouTube. So I appreciate you guys. Thanks for showing up. We'll be back here again. Unless something big happens that I want to wrap to you guys, I might come on tomorrow. Something actually is brewing. I might come on tomorrow, guys, on a Sunday. But other than that, we do this twice a week. Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time in America, 11 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time in America on Saturdays. So appreciate you. As I say, guys, always at the end of every broadcast, the best person who's going to take care of the old you is the young you. Guys, take care of yourself and take care of other people. Until the next video, peace.